Welcome to the Movement Leader Podcast, growing together as leaders.
Hey guys, welcome back to our Leader Podcast. I'm joined with Mary and Miss Tiff. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, Miss Tiff is one of our incredible sixth grade leaders. She's also a director on the kids team. And we all know Mary. But if you don't, Mary Stelter, youth director.
Yep.
Mary is freshly back from maternity leave.
Maternity leave, yep.
Yep.
Freshly back.
How you feeling?
Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back. Today on the episode, we are talking about specifically middle school ministry. If you're not a middle school leader, it's still valuable. You're going to come across middle schoolers. You're going to encounter middle schoolers. They're like wild animals sometimes. They just show up, right?
No kidding.
And so you're gonna have to deal with them. But no, it is very valuable. We highly value our middle schoolers because they do have a lot of questions. They have a lot of formation that's happening in their life, and so we're going to kind of break that down. But I wanted to start off with a question for Mary and Tiff. Describe yourself in middle school. What were you like in middle school?
I kind of joked before that I wish that I could just show a picture and let that be worth the thousands of words that it is, because that would say everything you needed to hear. I was very chatty, not surprising, very chatty. Tiff had kind of mentioned she was quieter. Couldn't be less quiet. I was extremely chatty. I was annoying. I was fun. I was like your classic middle schooler. Yeah. I just was always down for a good time.
Love that.
Yeah.
And still are.
Still, yes. I haven't changed much.
I love it.
I think I was chatty with my friends, but I was like quiet like with other people, so I wouldn't get to know other people. I was in the band, so I had all the band stuff. Yeah, I would make sure people would like me and not like me. So
just navigating all the social tensions.
For sure.
Yeah, I was the same way. I did band, choir, but I also did all the sports. So it was a weird, in two different crowds. I had a bowl cut, so I was just like,
oh no,
yeah,
that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had acne. I was just like,
it's a hard time.
It's a messy time.
It's a messy time. Whenever I see like a middle schooler that just looks like they've got their stuff together and like they're like super cute, it's like, what? Yeah. It's an anomaly. It's not natural.
No, yeah. And I mean, we got to talk about what's going on in the world to understand kind of like what are the things that they're challenged with in this time in their life. And so, Tiff, do you want to talk about some of the things that you see them, especially like as they've grown from kids ministry into middle schoolers, kind of the changes you've seen in them and what they're navigating?
So sixth graders, I think they're trying to figure out people liking them, fitting into groups. Like at least my sixth grade girls group that we have, they just want people to like them, and they want they're embarrassed about the things they go through, but they're not. So they'll talk about things, and then sometimes they talk too much about things, and you're like, ah. But I think that is the thing you're just trying to figure out is how to make friends. Friends is a huge thing, and how to keep good friendships. And how to be kind and nice, like all those things, and to be a that Christian girl that they're supposed to be. But yeah, and I also have a boy. I have a sixth grade boy, and he's trying to figure out life too. Like he wants to be part of the cool crowd, but then also trying to figure out how to follow Jesus at the same way. So I think that is the tension that they just live in.
Yeah, where do I fit? Where do I belong?
Absolutely.
Those kind of things. Mary?
Yeah. I mean, what aren't they going through? Genuinely, at this point, they are going through so many changes physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all in every single aspect. I often laugh, like it's the most awkward stage of life. Like if you look at the girls, they're maturing much faster. They are larger than the boys are, because the boys are still little and they haven't really hit many growth spurts yet. So when the girls have crushes on boys, they're like so much shorter than them, and they're like, I like that one, and it's like, wait 2 years, you know what I mean? Like, but they're going through so much physically. They're becoming more aware of what's appropriate and what's not. I think you'll often see like this is where they're starting to realize from their peers like what is funny and what's too far and what's too goofy, and they're kind of starting to hit that ground of more self-awareness where before they didn't have much self-awareness. They still don't have a ton of self-awareness, but they're just going through a lot. They're facing a lot just with their own physical bodies and changes, but also with the world around them. They're getting introduced into technology, into social media, into pressure from other people, more opinions. And so it really is like, what are they not going through at this point?
Yeah, that's just wild to think about, that they're probably becoming more aware of their lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
And so just even mentally, like all the things, the rabbit holes they can go down, the insecurities that surround that. And spiritually, I mean, a lot of them, if they've grown up in the church, this is a time where they're starting to ask, like, is this my faith? Or is this my parents' faith? And how do I develop a faith of my own? Are there things that I've been taught that like maybe aren't true or
Yeah.
I just believed because my parents did? And so like
Yeah.
so much around them is changing. So
Yeah.
what have you guys seen? You guys both lead middle school groups. What have you guys seen that has worked to bring in community and stability into this chaotic time in their life?
I think being consistent.
Yes.
As a leader, being consistent in their life, it's an honor as a leader to be that for them. A couple of months ago, I would say weeks ago, but my time is all skewed because it's like I pushed pause for 6 weeks. But a couple of months ago, you had student leaders go around the room and talk to their student leaders and tell them encouraging things. A lot of you will remember that. That meant a lot to a lot of leaders. And I also think it meant a lot to the student leaders, but as a leader of a group, hearing those girls come over, talking to me, talking to our other leaders, there was such pride in it of this is what your consistency brings, is the words that they're telling you. They're not just making it up. They're saying like, you are like an adult best friend. You're someone that I can rely on. You're someone that I can talk to. And they mean those things because they're true. Being a consistent leader, constantly showing up for them, not always correcting them, not always just being the heavy, but being somebody that's like fun and light, but also bringing truth into their life and not shying away from that. It means more than anything you can be for them. They have friends, they have parents, they have all of these things, but do they have an adult that cares for them deeply, cares for them consistently, and is constantly showing up for them?
I was going to say, too, with being consistent is being the same person you are here at youth and when you see them and here at church or when you see them out in the real world, because then that makes them see even that role model of just like, this is the way we live life and love them well. But consistency is huge for them.
That's great because a lot of they're so black and white at this age too. It's either good or bad, or and a lot of them, I think their faith is their faith here at church, and so for them to see you model it outside of church, and that faith is not just in this building at church on a Sunday, that your faith is everything outside to you, and it's your whole life. And I think too, like even with Mary's point of like showing interest in the things that even if you don't care about Minecraft, you don't care about the things that they're caring about right now, like show interest in that. I love having students like tell me about social media trends that I just don't know about because I'm older and whatever, but like they find so much joy in that you show interest in their life. Because as they're navigating all of these changes, they're looking for that stability. And you add in like some of them just don't have that at home too, and so you add that dynamic, the external going on with the internal changes, like it is a whirlwind. So they get to show up every week and see you guys as their leaders there, and that just provides that stability. And with that, they're asking big questions. And I think a lot of people sometimes dumb down what middle schoolers are processing. They're processing big questions. They're processing core identity questions. Like, do I belong? Am I normal? Who likes me? What am I good at? Is God real? And does he care about me? Like these big questions. How have you guys navigated the fun, silly parts of middle school ministry, but also like leaning into those bigger questions?
I was just going to say with Connect Group, I was actually thinking a couple weeks ago, we had an extra time in our Connect Group and we played I think it was hot potato for like 30 minutes, but we still had a serious conversation before. And then we had this, but that like changed our Connect Group for the next like 3 weeks because these girls were having fun playing this funny game, and they asked for it like the next couple weeks. And I just laughed and I saw how cool that was, that changed the way that they talked. They talked about serious things, but they're excited about the fun too. And my husband, he does a 6th grade group and he did the same. He added wiffle ball in for like 2 times. And then they had a big serious conversation before. So it's just cool to when you add in the fun, because they're still kids. So they still need that part, but they still need serious too. So I think it is that both and to add in.
Yeah, it is amazing to see how much that changes things, to see how it changes the air in the room of bringing in like it almost like breaks the pressure and it opens things up, allows them to be silly and goofy and connect more. And then conversation flows way easier after that. We often start with food. I mean,
Agreed.
Food is a great icebreaker.
It is.
They love it. They're goofy with it. They like to have a say in it. Like, what do you guys want? In 3 weeks, 2 weeks, next week, whatever. However often your group brings food, but starting things off with food, or even if it's like something small where you get a bag of candy that stretches you the whole month and you're like, if you answer a question, I'm going to throw a piece of candy at your head. And it really does like break the ice a little bit, and it does lighten the mood. And like a silly game or a snack or whatever it may be, having fun added with the serious, just it makes it so much smoother.
Yeah, and even in like the serious parts, like sometimes they'll just say something that's a little off the wall, but not making them feel like they're an idiot for doing that or saying that, because they are going to say stuff, and the things that matter to them might not matter to
certainly.
you. And I know we've talked about this, like a kid asks for you to pray for their cat. It's like, pray for that cat.
Yes,
absolutely.
Pray for that cat.
Because that's on their heart. And like that's where they're at. And that's going to open doors to bigger conversations in the future. One of the things I wrote down was encouraging curiosity, encouraging them to ask those questions. How have you guys been able to draw those questions? Because I know a lot of them probably just feel that discomfort with being able to ask the big questions or engage in those kind of conversations. How do you guys draw those questions out of the kids and make them feel comfortable?
I mean, we've all had moments where it's awkwardly quiet in your small group where you've got extra time, or you ask a question and no one really responds, or you say at the end of the group, like, is there any other questions? And it's crickets. I think that it's time, for one thing, giving it time. I think, Tiff, you can probably agree that your group looks so different now than it did at the beginning of the year. And they ask more questions now than they did at the beginning of the year, because of the consistency that your group has had, and because of the fun and all of the different things. But also just presenting the opportunity and always letting them have the opportunity. You can't force that out of them, and you can't rush it either. So being patient and allowing there to be a little bit of quiet, having one-on-one conversations, if you're realizing that maybe certain topics are being brought up with certain students often, and you're like, that's something that probably doesn't apply to the whole group, but I need to have a specific conversation with that student or that group of students. Like, take the time, have the conversations, but also just presenting them with the opportunity. It's always consistently give them the opportunity to ask questions, because they won't at first, or some might, but mostly it'll take some time, but we have nothing but time.
It was funny you said that, because I actually thought that. I said, like, last week's group, a couple of the girls, we had that space so quiet, and they raised their hand to ask a question that was, or just say the thought that was on their head that they probably wouldn't have said at the beginning. So that was really cool just to see, because then another girl in the group was thinking the same thing. So they had just connected at the same time. So I really enjoyed that.
And we really want small groups to be the safest place to ask any question, to talk about anything that's on their heart and mind. And a lot of that just plays into our desire. They want to be connected. They want to build that trust with you. And that trust goes a long way. So how have you guys built trust with students, built that relationship? Say you have a new student who's brand new 6th grader. How would you go through that process throughout a year of just building that trust with that student?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, our group, we have like 4 different leaders, and we have a couple leaders that are really good with new people, just to like,
make them comfortable.
Make them feel comfortable, play games with them. So it's just cool. And then they come together with the whole big group, or even there's some girls that will take them under their wing and say, hey, let's play games too. So that's really cool to see them invite other 6th grade girls in, or just like.
It's so cool to embrace the other leaders too. When I first started in youth ministry as a volunteer, I was like, I want every kid to just be drawn to me, and like I want to build that connection. And I was like, man, I can't be that. Like, I'm gonna connect with kids that other leaders don't, and they're gonna connect. And so definitely even just embracing that too, the diversity of leaders.
That's I think the biggest thing is a new student, I think in the long run is going to be so appreciative and get so much out of a relationship with their adult leader. But in the short term, what's going to make them stick, I think, is the students. Like, feeling like they fit in with their peers is such a big deal. If you feel like the only person that you connected with in the whole night was a 30-year-old, like, good. I think that's great, and that's better than no one. But how cool if a group of your girls or a group of your guys can go make them feel comfortable, or just be like, hey, will you be on our team for this game? Or will you sit by us in small group? Or you can follow us as we walk to small group because we meet in this area. You know what I mean? And so encouraging your group to do that. I have like a group of 5 girls and then another group of like 4 girls that consistently, if we have a new kid come in, I'm grabbing one of those 2 groups, because they're consistent. They are good girls, they're kind, they're fun, and they're always doing something. And so I'll grab one of those groups that are in our small group, and I'm like, okay, they are yours now for the night. Like, love them, show them around, show them why you love movement. And that they usually come back. And then whether or not they stick with that friend group, I've seen them do that before where they like cling to them, or I've also seen them create their own relationships, but they at least got through the night with a group of girls or a group of guys that made them feel comfortable and like they fit in.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I had to learn to build connection with middle schoolers is to be goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not naturally like that way.
Yeah.
And so like, man, if they want to do a TikTok dance, like I'm going to give it my best shot, you know?
You just gotta.
Yeah. You just like set your pride aside and say, I'm going to be goofy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's not fake. It's,
Yeah.
you know, you want to connect. And so that for me, that was a huge thing too.
Yeah.
Not having to be serious all
Yeah.
the time and like leaning into the
Yeah.
fun parts and not dismissing it as like, oh, that's not real ministry
right.
because we're not talking about big questions.
Yeah.
Like, no, like have fun with
That's
them.
the part of ministry.
Yeah.
The more they get used to you, the more they're going to come to you with a serious
Yeah.
question because they know you're
Yeah.
safe and you'll do fun
Yeah.
things with them.
Yeah, and I think that's cool, like seeing it from a kids ministry
Yes.
perspective too, because like you go back to the kids ministry and you guys do spend a lot of
Yeah.
time like with the fun and games, but
Yep.
that leads to something
Serious.
deeper.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a door that opens with them. All right, let's talk about ministry that sticks. So they come in, they have all these big questions, they're wrestling with all the chaos that's going on around them. We want the message of the gospel to stick with them.
Yeah.
We want them in their black and white minds to comprehend a God who's incomprehensible and to have this relationship with him. What are some ways that you guys have made ministry sticky for middle schoolers specifically?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked a lot about it, but small groups, spending time in small groups, spending time with them, talking to them. It's like a connection point where, specifically, I'm one of the leaders in the 7th grade girls group, and there are anywhere in between 15 to like 30 girls. It would be so easy for them to just like go slip through the cracks and for me to not connect with a lot of them on any given night. But because there's 40 to 45 minutes every single night where we are together in that room, in that space, talking about what's going on in their day, what's going on in their life, in their week, it's just connection. It's deep, it's conversation, and they look forward to that. They will come up running and be like, okay, I've been wanting to tell you this all week. Because they know they're going to have that time. And so small groups, having fun time, games, having things where they can engage and just be silly and scream the loudest or be the goofiest or eat a spicy thing or whatever that is, but being goofy with them, being silly and just spending time. I think that quality time is such a huge thing. It's such a huge piece.
Yeah. I was getting even too when in our small groups, we just are always reminding them of too that Jesus loves them. I think that simple fact is a big one for them to know, is that he created them, he loves them, he sees them. And the more we tell them that, the more they can feel comfortable in their skin. Because even if they're wrestling with the truths of this world, and some of them are coming from like divorced parents, dad's not involved, like all these hard things. So if we're constantly reminding them of that basic truth of Jesus loves you, like that's the biggest part of it, that I think that is so important too.
Yeah, and really just like meeting them where they're at.
Absolutely.
Like, sometimes it's easy to want to have those like big conversations, but most of them are wrestling with like justification, sanctification, like all these big theological terms, like the simple fact that they have a God who loves them, that they're accepted here, that they belong here. Like those are the things that matter. I know we talk a lot about too with our leaders, like going to sporting events, going to band concerts, showing up outside of the church building is huge because it does build that you are showing interest in their life. Even though that band concert wasn't the best thing you've ever heard, you're going to go and you're going to support them and tell them they give it a good shot.
Good job.
You did great.
Great job.
Yeah, no, but honestly, like it's cool to see the students light up when you walk into that auditorium or that gym to watch their game or their performance. Just really shows that you're there for them in that season of life. How have you guys navigated cell phones, texting? Do you guys have group chats for your small groups? What does that look like for that connection piece for you?
Yeah, we have a group me. And I mean, 7th grade, last year we didn't. 6th grade, it was really difficult. It was mostly parent communication. But now they're getting a little bit older. A lot of them have either like an email on a iPad or something that they can log into, or using their mom's device, dad's device, or they have a phone. And so it is a little bit easier. We find that GroupMe is great. It's right at the beginning of the year. We're like, send in your schedules for your games and your tournaments and whatever, your band concerts. And so we use that. We talk to them throughout the week. Who's coming this week? Exciting things. But it is a different level of challenging for middle school because they just don't have that. And so a lot of your communication either goes through parents or just on Sunday and trying to collect all that information. And so you kind of get familiar with that parent cell phone line.
Which is good. I mean, obviously, like they're in that phase where they're not independent like a high schooler would be. But at the same time, like they're growing into that. And so figuring out how to communicate with them. Have you found out anything that works?
We didn't do 6th grade girls group for that same reason too. Because like I know my son just got his phone like beginning of this year. So like I think some of the girls still don't have phone numbers, still don't have that. So we didn't do that yet for the 6th grade girls.
That's good.
Yeah. But they all still talk though when they come. Like that's the good thing about girls. When they come to Connect Group, they're ready to all talk about everything in the week. So it's
the boys definitely need that, just like game time, just hang out, have fun, go crazy. That's awesome. And one thing that I saw when I first started ministry, I did 7th grade guys. I was the only leader with 25 guys, and I was like, this is insane. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I was in college, had no idea what I was doing. But just kept showing up. I was like, I don't think these guys hear me at all. Like, I don't think they're getting anything from it. And then to watch them grow, like you guys talked about it, like how much has even changed this year since the beginning of the year, and like to see these students grow and understand this God who loves them. And it's an incredible opportunity. And the reality is, like, they want it. Like, they're in a place where everything else, like we talked about, is changing, but they come here and they learn about a God who is unchanging, and they see a community that is for them, that accepts them, that wants to know and invest in their lives. So
definitely.
We have a huge opportunity for that. As we close, any encouragement that you guys have for our middle school leaders?
I was going to say stick with it. Like, love the kids well, even when they're silly and weird and do stuff that you're like, what? Just stick with it and love them. And don't, like, if they ask you a question that you want to make a face about, don't make a face. Keep it, like, listen to them, hear what they're saying, and then be able to help them with what they're going through. Because when you make a face, that makes them, like, shut down pretty quick with you. And so you don't want that. Like, you want to be able to have that open communication with them.
Yeah. I think sticking with it is a huge thing, but also, so stick with it. And to go along with that is don't be afraid to step into it. So if you're a high school leader and your kids are graduating, or if you've always done high school and you're like, I just don't do middle school, I want to encourage you that you can. You absolutely can do middle school, and you will be shocked at how much it blesses your life to start something from scratch, to start with these kids when they're little 6th graders. I can say the seniors who are graduating this year, I was their 8th grade small group leader.
That's awesome.
And it's like, oh my gosh, or 7th grade. I was their 7th grade small group leader. So I've seen them since they were in 7th grade, and haven't been their small group leader since. But just because my role has changed a lot, but I have seen them through this ministry, and it's like, oh my gosh, seeing them be men and women who are claiming their faith and who are just so different, but also just still are these little people who had so much fun and were goofy and funny. And I just want to encourage you, don't be so put off by middle school that you're afraid to step into it, because it really is such a cool blessing.
To see that growth, to see that longevity play out.
Oh my gosh, such a blessing.
And to be able to be used by God in that way is such an honor. Absolutely. So we are thankful for you guys. Thank you for joining us as we talk about middle school. We'll talk about high school on the next one, but until then, take care.